Hello, BookTube. I should open this Stevestream, this Yom Kippur Stevestream, your Day of Atonement. I trust that even if you're not fasting, you're at least not gorging on food. I should start this Stevestream off with a couple of apologies. One is for the interruption that is certainly going to happen. This is going to be a short Stevestream, but even so, we are certainly going to get interrupted for the very first time. There's going to be a knock at the door, and it's going to persist. I'm going to need to get up to deal with it. I'm going to need to leave the camera frame so that all you have to look at is Frida. I apologize for that. It'll be a workman. And I told him an hour ago, you cannot do that. I have video conferences all day. I have maybe live streams. You cannot do that. There is nothing that you need me for that you need to knock on the door of. And I know he said he tripped over himself to say, no, you're right. There's no reason why I need to bother you at all. I absolutely not. Thanks for letting me know. Am I being too loud elsewhere in the building? I said, no, you're not being too loud elsewhere in the building. You just can't do that. You absolutely can't do that. And because I said that, he is going to do that. I would estimate in about 10 minutes, but I could be wrong. It will be false and it will be fraudulent. It will only be because he wants to be a pain. Because he wants the attention. It it occurred to me once I sat down and realized, no, he's certainly going to do that. It occurred to me that in much younger days, uh, I would have taken that very poorly. I would have done something horrible. Uh, I might even have phrased the warning differently. I might have said, look, I hope that we're on the same page here. I hope that we're agreeing. You cannot knock on the door. You do not need me for anything. I don't want to be interrupted. I am interacting with people, editors and writers, and now you all day long. So you cannot interrupt me. And in earlier days, I would have said, and if you do, I'll break all the fingers on your left hand and I'll do it slowly so that you'll be able to watch while it's happening. And you won't be able to use them again. Your left hand will be in a cast for the rest of the year. But I didn't say that. Instead, I just said, that's great. Hope we're on agreement here. You absolutely can't do that. That's apology number one, because that is certainly going to happen. And apology number two is for the content of this video. I originally thought it's a Steve stream about reading. I originally thought there's a sort of a rant that I wanted to get off my chest. But I think it's a little too early in the year for it. We're only turning over the leaf of October in a few days, which is a little bit early in the year. I have a premium rant that's burbling up inside about book lists, about end of the year best of book lists. I know I say every year that none of them compare to my own for a whole bunch of reasons, but it has occurred to me lately that almost all of them are really bad anyway, even though they don't compare. Even given that, even factoring that in, they're still really bad on their own terms. But it's a little too early to be ranting about end of the year book lists. So instead, uh, I wanted to offer you those two apologies. I am going to have to get up and leave the camera frame. I also apologize if there are any sensitive souls there about what you might overhear when I do that, because I'm going to be furious when that happens. I am only hoping, I am praying and hoping that when that happens, I do not fling open the door and take one step forward, put your foot behind the shin of the person directly in front of you, and give them a good strong push, which ordinarily land a person flat on their back, but in this case, it would send a person down a flight of stairs and may break his neck. And I'm hoping that I don't do that. I'm really hoping that I don't do that. It is thoroughly deserved, but I'm hoping that I don't do that. I'm apologizing for that, and also because I'm not going to do the book list rant. That can wait. So instead, we'll just before I turn to the chat for this short Steve stream, this Yom Kippur Steve stream, I thought we would open some mail. I've got two packages here. It's not much. It's been pouring rain all day, and the mail delivery services, FedEx, UPS, the U.S. Postal Service bus, certainly the U.S. Postal Service walker, they don't tend to deliver in the rain, even though, as was said on Seinfeld decades ago, it's right there. It's the first thing in the creed. Anyway, we've had such a run on mail that I want to try these two packages just to keep the run going. I haven't had to delete a mail haul, and that is great. That feels fantastic. So let's see if we can. This is only two packages. Surely we can get through two packages. So the first one is for January, so I don't need to worry about it. And this is translated literature. That's great. This is called Slow Down, a Degrowth Manifesto by Kohei Saito. A runaway bestseller in Japan, in the spirit of the big idea books by Naomi Klein and Arundhati Roy, the author delivers a bold and urgent call for a return to Marxism in order to stop climate change. Good luck with that. Why, in our affluent society, are so many people living in poverty without access to health care, working multiple jobs, and still unable to make ends meet with no good prospects for the future as planet is burning? In this international bestseller, the author argues that while the unfettered capitalism is often blamed for inequality and climate change, calls for sustainable growth and the Green New Deal are a dangerous compromise. Capitalism creates artificial scarcity by pursuing profit based on the value of products rather than their usefulness, and by putting perpetual growth above all else. It is therefore impossible to reverse climate change in a capitalist society. More, the system that caused the problem in the first place cannot be an integral part of the solution. Both those claims are completely wrong, just factually wrong. That's all. The only reason that capitalism can't solve this problem is because the capitalism has bought the legislature. If that weren't possible, if lobbying weren't possible, if legislators couldn't have their job, if they take that money, if they have to be clean, well, then they wouldn't be beholden to the people who are ruining the environment and could pass laws to protect it. This has happened many times before, even in America's history. This has happened many times before. It is not a mystery. You do not need to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Capitalism can fix this problem. It's just not going to. Uh, so this, well, anyway, this comes out in January. I can argue with it then. I'm not going to even worry about it now. Point is, it's not cause for a rant that would stop the video. So let's do the second one, and then we will be through this. We will have succeeded uh, in doing, what is this, the fourth mail haul? What is this next one? Okay, great. This is from Europa Editions. It's another hardcover from Europa Editions. This is Bourneville by Jonathan Coe. Uh, a novel coming out soon, I would imagine. I don't have a sheet for it, but this is a sweeping state of the nation story from the Queen's coronation to the death of Princess Diana, from the Beatles to Brexit, a tender, ironic portrait of England told through four generations of one family. And Jonathan Coe was born in 1961 in a suburb of Birmingham. His first novel, The Accidental Woman, was published in 1987. And he's written What a Carve Up. The Rotters Club made a little bit of a splash on this side of the Atlantic. And he's the recipient of many prizes. So great. Fiction that's coming out in America probably soon. And then translated literature, which is coming out in the new year. So we did it. We did it. We did another successful mail haul. For those of you who aren't catching the live stream live, we did another successful mail haul. And that brings me to the end of my prepared remarks, because the only other prepared thing I was going to do was going to be to rant about year-end best of book lists and how fundamentally flawed they are in their DNA. They, even when they don't reach far enough, even the ones that try still can't help but be crappy for a whole bunch of reasons that have been on my mind recently, because I just encountered, where was it? Where did I encounter? I just encountered my first full-born example of such a thing, and it was so bad that that I mean, I rail on these things anyway because they're nothing compared to my own, but I still like to say you give them a little pat on the head and say they do their best, but sometimes they don't. But anyway, let's turn to the chat now that I'm done with apologizing. So Joanna Burgess says hi. Randy Ray says hi. Hannah's Books is here. Janet Campbell says hello. Randy Ray, I really believe you when you say that this will be the shortest Steve stream ever. Really, I do. It will be, though. It really will be. I still have a whole bunch of stuff to do today. Uh, Jay Nicole says hi. Janet Campbell says hi. Golem Muad'Dib, the stream snuck up on me. How's your rainy Monday going? It's pouring rain here. It's been pouring all day. There was a tiny little opening. I used Matthew Capucci's weather app, and it's right down to the minute. And there was a tiny little opening where I got to give the bean to stretch her legs and whatnot. But other than that, it's been pouring rain. Uh, let's see here. Omnipotent Poobah, oh goody, a rant, yes, but not a rant. I'm not going to rant about year-end book lists until we're a little bit closer to the end of the year. Randy Ray, please don't break someone's neck live on YouTube, Steve. Well, we're, I would say, 9 minutes away from the interruption that guy, the one who's going to knock on the door and keep knocking until I go over there, swore to me on his mother's grave he would not do. We're about 9 minutes away from the interruption. He swore he would not do. I said, there is no reason why you will need me, so don't knock on the door. You might hear me talking, but that doesn't mean I'm talking to you. It's just the way he's wired. It's certainly going to happen. And all that my effort should be, the whole of my concentration should be not to punish him for lying to me. People lie all the time. It's I should keep my hands off him. That's the main focus of my whole life right now is to keep my hands off him. Just say I can't talk and slam the door in his face. Uh, Anyway, Grandma Joe says hello. Bookends and Books is here. Hello. Nippity Poobah says, I know Steve has been itching to weigh in on Booktuber long list, on the Booker long list. This must be the rant that is brewing. No, no, it's not about book lists in that sense of the word. It's about institutions, magazines, newspapers. They all look back on the year in books and rate, the top 10 books of the year or whatnot. And they're always an embarrassment. And it's bothering me how poorly served readers are who don't know about my own list. No, the Booker, I don't pay any attention at all to mainstream book prizes. Now that I know that they don't have anything to do with literature, that they're only about the progressive stack. Well, I can read the progressive stack as well as anybody can. I can also go to these people's Facebooks or their Twitter or their Instagram and find out where they stand on the progressive stack. What's in your Twitter bio? That's largely Twitter bios are largely people advertising where they stand on the progressive stack. But even so, you can go to Instagram or Facebook and see who they're dating and what the skin colors of their parents and their immigration status. All of those things are the only things that the judges look at. So why bother? Why bother paying attention to long lists or short lists? Uh, Dylan Matthias, glad to finally catch a Steve stream again. My schedule hasn't been permitting it, but you couldn't stay two steps ahead of me forever. I've been on John Gardner kick lately. His interviews are a joy. I agree. Kieran Reeder, hi Steve. I'm so happy to be joining a live stream while it's happening. Yes, but we're not staying for long. This one will actually be short. Uh, Marcelo Silva says, "Oh wait, a mail haul in a Steve stream is bold." Well, I'm feeling a little cocky, and we did it. We did another mail haul. It's only two books, but the, we have an unbroken string of successes now for recent mail hauls, which is great. Uh, uh, Great to see you again. Uh, Aaron says, ask your friend who reads economic books to review that slow down book. David Murphy. I don't know that he would be able to control his temper. We shall see. I'll see if he wants to take a look at it. Jared Henderson, a live mail haul. I too like to live dangerously. Do you indeed? Sometimes you stroke the beard counterclockwise instead of clockwise. Nibner Poobo, the Bourneville US cover is better than the UK one by some distance. I think I remember that. I think I looked this up when I was contacted for it and saw the UK cover and thought, once again, the American covers are really doing well this year. Uh, let's see here. Martin S says hello. Mindoc says I remember I watched a Steve stream recording once, and Steve said it would end soon in 20 minutes. It ended 2 hours later. Yeah, I know. I say that all the time, but this time it's actually going to happen. I doubt very much that I'm going to be in the mood to be jovial in a Steve stream once I am interrupted. I know that is coming. I know that is going to happen, and it's going to make me blood curdlingly angry. I have mentioned on my channel a couple of times before. I don't need to dwell on it. That I have a mortal sin, and that sin is wrath. This is right there. This is right in the bullseye of my biggest emotional slash personal weakness, which is the mortal sin of wrath. I know it's coming, and I'm going to want to do violence. I'm going to want in a way that I really don't know how to explain to normal people. Picture when you have a massive sudden itch. Picture the absolute impossibility of simply leaving it alone. Your whole world is suddenly that. That is going to be what I feel when I open that door. I'm going to want to do violence, savage, disproportionate violence, because I have been lied to. Uh, there is no real because. It's not going to be. It's not going to happen. I'm going to control myself. I'm not going to lay a hand on this person, although they richly deserve it. They deserve to die for it. But I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to feel like continuing the live stream after that happens anyway. Um, Joanna Burgess, I never understood the star rating some YouTubers use. Yes, but that isn't what I'd be talking about either. I'd be talking about the Guardian, the Literary Review, the Saturday Review, the London Times Literary Supplement, the London Review of Books, the New York Times, Harper's, everybody. Everybody does a best books of the year list. We haven't hit them in their snowdroves yet, but we will. I saw an early one. I'm going to have to figure out where that was because I'm going to want to mention it in my rant. But they're all interchangeable, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized they are inexcusably bad. and there are reasons for that that impinge on the freakishness of my own list. Uh, but anyway, James Rucala says, "Do you recall if you ever successfully deployed the phrase 'food for thought' to rescue a male?" I haven't yet. But I am determined to, because this stream cannot go on forever. Not this live stream, but this streak of male halls that behave themselves cannot go on forever. I am bound to get a weird ideological left turn, and then I'm going to need to use food for thought. We'll just see. Ewan Sinclair says hello. Ingrid Fitz says howdy. Steve Bronstein says if this Steve stream gets cut off in a few minutes, the next one will be from prison. Well, I'm going to control myself. I'm going to want to do savage violence. I'm not going to see the person. I'm going to dip out of consciousness. I know this feeling. I don't want to do it. So it's weird to know. I know that it's coming in about 5 minutes now. Jared Henderson, I made a big Library of America order yesterday after your stream. Futures female PKT box set. Well, that money could have gone to something else. The Diaries of John Quincy Adams, you could have done instead of Philip K. Dick. Burroughs' Princess of Mars, yes, that their original one volume with the original cover artwork for Princess of Mars is really nice. And the two science fiction collections, I'm assuming you mean the two box sets that go decade by decade. Those are really good to have if you can find them for a reasonable price. Jack Ferguson says hi. Randy Ray, Jared, that will make for a fun book haul video. I love those Library of America books. The two box sets of science fiction are wonderful. It was really, really, really funny to see Sam Sachs of the Wall Street Journal try to review one of them, perhaps with a little goading. He tried to review one of them, and his review is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. It's just after that, it was just. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who said, "Okay, fine, don't do that again. You tried, you earned some open-minded cred, but please don't do that again." Leo Percara, your godsend, Steve. Wait, where'd you go? I like the beginning of that. Your interregnum lists, which have been reading some of those books, are amazing. I wish more people find them and all other lists. It will make them better readers. Well, my list, there's a lot of work that goes into them, as all of you know from this channel. I put a lot of work into recommending. I value it very much. I don't do it lightly at all. And the lists are a distillation of that. Sort of the only blind recommendations that I do. Dylan Matthias, would trends in publishing lead to the long-standing ugliness of American book covers? And what do you suppose has changed in the last year or so that has suddenly made them improve? Purely cultural. I think I know what's happened. I think I know what explains the change. And the explanation, if I'm right, is very bad. Ironically, it's having a good side effect of pretty covers. But the explanation, I think, is the massive influx into publishing of young people who do not care anything about books. They do care about what books look like. They've been doing Photoshop on Instagram for 10 years, so they've got better. They're better at that sort of thing, but they are viciously prejudiced gatekeepers. There are a couple on BookTube that they're viciously prejudiced, bigoted gatekeepers who it's definitely not good that they are in the publishing industry. But if it gets me pretty covers in the short term, I'll take it. Graveyard Shift says, hi, how are you? Jay Nicole says, I have that sin too. It always comforting to meet a fellow sufferer. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. I'm not meaning to trivialize it. It's a hard thing because I firmly believe that with the other major cardinal sins, you are present in the moment, which ups your chances of controlling it a lot. With wrath, you aren't present. It what one old writer who has suffered from this himself called a red mist rises right above your eyes. You dip out of time. You're not there anymore. You blink, and you're looking at the aftermath. And that doesn't seem fair because it doesn't give you a chance to amend your behavior in the moment. Which is why I'm telling myself ahead of time. I know this interruption is coming. I should control myself. I should control myself. One quick little. It doesn't even have a. It's such a simple maneuver you know, to put your opposite foot behind the shin of someone and knock them over. It's such a simple maneuver. It it's going to be muscle memory. I'm just going to have to keep my distance and control myself. I'm just going to have to do that because if I do that on top of a steep flight of stairs, the person could die. So anyway, anyway, Randy Ray, Steve's lists are gold. Gold. I say, well, thank you very much. Aaron just saw a quote from an article of a Chinese grad student who says he's going back to China because American students are nowhere near as interested in Western classics as Chinese students are. They're told not to be. They're told not to be interested in it. The Western classics are the products of sexism, racism, rape culture, and colonialism. I'm amazed that they're still on the curriculum in major schools. Um, let's see here. Fit to be read. Pink's a good color on you. Oh, well, thank you. This used to be a lot brighter pink. You go to earlier videos of mine, you'll see I tend to wear clothes until they fall apart. I really do need to. Somebody brought up in an earlier live stream, where do I get my clothes? I said local charity shops, and I really need to do that. I need to just go over and get 10 shirts. If I get 10 shirts, I just pull off the rod looking only at, double or triple extra large. If I look only at that and the fact that they don't have anything on them, I want them just to be a plain polo shirt. If I get 10 of those, just fill my arm with 10 of those, probably 4 won't survive the first laundry. They'll shrink to handkerchief size, and probably 2 more will they won't be comical, but they will shrink to the point where I couldn't wear them anymore. They won't be double extra large anymore. Nothing will be able to get them back to that shape. But that still leaves 4 that will survive there, $2 a piece. I'm not gonna care about the attrition. And that way, I'll be ready when these old polo shirts fall apart. Tolstoy 111. Hi, Steve. So do the novels of the Marquis de Sade offer anything beyond morbid? Where did you go? Where did you go? Historical curiosity. No, they don't. Aaron Russell, hi Steve. What is the question on reading here? Well, there wasn't a question. I was going to do a little rant about year-end reading lists, about how bad most year-end reading lists from the major literary journals are. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, that it's too early for such a thing. Randy Ray says, I have to admit, I've read several PKD books. I don't hate them, but I didn't wonder what all the fuss was about. It was a waste of Jared's money to spend money on the Library of America, Philip K. Dick. It was a waste of his money. It was a dude bro waste of money. That poison can be leached out of his system. It will take some time. Deprogramming, as I mentioned, is very delicate. El Castillo, did you see the news of a TikTok account that face searched people from videos, normal citizens interviewed, for example, and then found on their personal information just by face googling? I've seen a number of comments like that about the dystopia that's coming for all of us. Uh, I don't know what to make of it. I it goes against all of my deepest instincts. I was raised and socialized by a species that doesn't have a concept of privacy, and yet I know that by ignoring the concept of privacy, I'm inviting trouble. So I don't know. I have to fight against my own instincts on a number of different levels in this Steve stream because we're a minute or two away from a knock at the door, a persistent knock at the door. I'm not going to be able to call and say I can't come because he'll just keep doing it. I'm going to have to go and open the door and then somehow refrain from crippling or killing him. Uh, Dylan Matthias, speaking of yesterday's stream, watching the video this morning inspired me to seek out the Richard Burton interviews on Dick Cavett. You were right about that pair, Steve. Great subject and great host. It's where Richard Burton is one of the places in the Cavett oeuvre where his skill really is evident. I myself think that it's also evident in his uh, episodes with Orson Welles. It's a lot harder to see because Wells just fills the room. But I think if you watch, you'll see how carefully he is managing what he's doing. It's only rarely that a guest is simply not there. Their mouth is there and it's going constantly, but they are not there. So they're not even picking up on what he's doing. Unfortunately, Betty Davis is a good example of that. But unfortunately, Katharine Hepburn as well. Um, but anyway, Leo Percarla, that Marxism is the answer book will not give any solutions, but he's going to clumsily criticize capitalism while making up terms and definitions. I'm sure of it. Yeah, I wonder where you get that idea. Yeah, it will certainly do that. Yes, it will certainly do that. Capitalism can fix these problems. It's just that the legislature has been bought, and there are ways that you could make that not true. There are ways that you could ameliorate that and get legislatures back into some semblance of independence from capitalism without dismantling the system. Dismantling the system will only make things worse because when the system is dismantled, robber barons and bandits will rush right in before any new system can be implemented, and that will only be to the harm. it, anyway, anyway, the Fantasy Network is here again. Howdy, howdy. Ingrid Fitz, after reading Stranger in Strange Land, I'm thinking you could withdraw into yourself as Mike the Martian did when grokking wrongness is if needed. Yes, well, unfortunately, no, I can't do that because I've got a lot to do today. We have to wrap this Steve stream up relatively soon, maybe five. Jared Henderson. The problem with many book lists is that they're thinking about the opinions of other writers and critics. They aren't thinking primarily about the readers. No, they aren't thinking about the reader at all. And a lot of them are only thinking about who's paid the most for the paid advertisement in the home journal where they're writing, or maybe they've been told to think about that. And also, when Jared and I were doing our live stream about timid readers, cloistered readers, I was talking in that live stream mostly about people who stick to one subgenre or two at the most, but I could have been more brutal. I could have said that most readers are timid, cloistered readers. Most of them are. Anyway, Lindsay reads, "Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Tolstoy 111. While I'm at it, uh, where'd you go? Oh my god. Oh my god. These comments are not going to get addressed because this is not going to be a long Steve stream. While I'm at it, does Uncle Tom's Cabin offer something beyond healthy historical curiosity? It's got sudsy melodrama. It's got effectively well done melodrama. I don't think that you'll be that bored while you're reading it. Aaron, my first intro to PKD was Ubik. Wasn't impressed. Do Android's Dream was better. Better than what? Better than crap? Yeah, it was better. Aaron, Stranger in a Strange Land might be the best intro to Heinlein. I would argue not. I would argue not. The zeitgeist has changed so much uh, that I'm not talking here about woke censors or anybody like that. I'm saying a normal person would find the rampant misogyny in Stranger in a Strange Land too much to keep going. They would find it so overwhelming that it blots out the rest of the book, the genuine good of the rest of the book. If I had to pick an introduction, just a flat, cold introduction to Heinlein, it would probably be the last thing I'd pick. I could find other things to do. It's just so not missable in the book. It's so not skippable. Anyway, the Fantasy Network. Jared, I very much enjoyed your favorite books of all time video. Yes, so did I. I very much enjoy best books of all time books from people who have read 1,000 books. Yes, they're always very enlightening. Stephen Bronstein, speaking of fingers being slowly broken one by one, do you think there are exceptions in which torture should be legal by the state, not by Steve against perpetrators of noise? No, no, there isn't. There is no way to make its hands clean. So no, it should absolutely not be. No, it shouldn't be done anyway by anybody, including me. Fit to be read. I prefer Ubik to Android's Dream, basing on enjoyability of the reading experience. Well, if we're talking about enjoyability of the reading experience, we're ruling out Philip K. Dick. Just too court. Randy Ray, who's a good author that scratches the same itch as Philip K. Dick but does it better? Would depend on the itch. I mentioned James Tiptree yesterday. That would be just a fine spot. Science fiction or Fritz Leiber. Well, I don't think that the itches are well defined in Philip K. Dick, and I think that they don't have anything to do with what he's writing. So if the itches are dude bro, essentially dude bro in nature, then better to cure the itch than to scratch it with somebody else. I would say. Uh, Randy Ray, I'm not sure I'd describe that shirt as pink, salmon maybe. Well, it was pink when it started. I've been wearing it in videos for years. It is close to retirement age. I really need to go up the street to the charity shops, and there are books there. So there's a candy. There's a little inducement to go up there. I really should go and just get 10 shirts because I'm going to forget about this once cold weather comes. I'm going to forget about it, and then when spring comes, I'm going to have a bunch of stuff that it can't be worn. I really should do that. I just tell myself I'm going for the books. Andrew Russell, I have one humongous, greater than 1,000 list on Goodreads of books I want to read and just cherry pick according to what I want to read. When I've told others of this, they have been shocked. Why? At the number? I'm sure a lot of people in this chat have thousands of books on their mental TBR list. But you prefer the choice, but sure. Balin321 says, Shalom. Yes, Shalom. It is Yom Kippur. It's your day of reflection and penance. Are you standing up all day long? Are you fasting all day long? Uh, Tolstoy 111, PKD was great ideas guy, but you have to get past his wretched prose. I don't agree. I don't agree. With Philip K. Dick or science fiction as a genre or any kind of writing, you do not have to get past wretched prose. You do not. Life is too short. In about 5 minutes, you're going to be dead. You don't have to get by anybody's wretched prose. Wretched prose is the price of admission. If the author can't give you that, they can't give you anything else that's worth having. Uh, let's see here. Joanna Burgess, who is PKD? Philip K. Dick, the wretched science fiction author, Philip K. Dick, the author of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, that was made into Blade Runner, uh, the author of Man in the Iron and the High Castle, that was made into a Rufus Sewell TV show. The dude bro favorite when it comes to science fiction. The hands down dude bro favorite for all of the predictable dude bro reasons. Reading him is like simulating the parts of your brain that play video games or that do bong rips. There are no female characters. That always clears the brush for dude bro readers. The books are short and read really quick. All the usual stuff. That's who we're talking about here. Andrew Russell's responding to Tolstoy 111. Joanna Burgess is asking again, who is PKD? Steve Brunstein wasn't there. Also a fun one with Gore Vidal, Norman Mailer, and Dick Cavett. It wasn't fun. It's painful to watch. Just painful. You will be, when you watch with Dick Cavett and Gore Vidal and Norman Mailer, two of the people on that stage want nothing more than to punch Norman Mailer. And when you watch, there'll be three people. You will also want to punch him. Fit to be read. I prefer Delaney, Bester, and Lem as great ideas guys, but I do like Dick's ability to raise questions and completely avoid trying to answer them for the reader. Yes, including the ones he should. uh, oh, but I lost you here. Where did I go? Oh, God, help us. Here we go. Aaron, regulatory capture is a big problem with the American economy. Regulations make it too expensive to enter an industry which protects incumbent companies from competition. David Wiley is here. Hello. Dwayne Jasper, currently reading Journey by Midnight by Antal Zerb, which I think was one of your recommendations. Fantastic book. Give it a shout out. Journey by Moonlight. It's not ringing a bell. It's not ringing a bell. Aaron says that Philip K. Dick's prose is very bland. Ewan Sinclair says Norman Mailer came off as very, very well in that Cavett episode with him and Gore Vidal. Wink. Yeah, he came off just great. Yeah, it makes everyone want to hit him. Dylan Mathias. The Mailer Vidal spat on Cavett is one of the great moments in TV history. Not exactly Cavett at his best. No, Cavett did not know how to deal with that level of rudeness. Just did not know. It was just not in his DNA to do. But in the vein of his interviews with Bobby Fischer and Muhammad Ali, immensely fun all the same. Oliver Anderson, another Steve stream. You're spoiling us. Dare we ask for a Blob watch? We can have a Blob watch, but the Steve stream is not lasting much longer, and also this is going to be the last one for a bit. This is you're going to have to do for days. Wow. But let's take a Blob watch because I'm really hoping the Blob watch shows me the Blob leaving New England. I've had just about as much of this rain as I can take. So let's give the satellites a chance to fix this here. Okay. So the blob to the north has strengthened. The one to the south is fragmented. And there is the one that I am currently dealing with. This one here is slowly making its way out of New England. Big mess of a thing. But it looks to me like this. Let's give the satellites a chance to reposition here. That worries me. I worry about that. That is in a perfect position to sweep across the country and hit me. So we will see. But I don't think I need to worry about either of these systems, either this one or that one. I don't think either one has to worry about it. I think after this blob in New England, I think we've got clear sailing for a week at least, which would be great. Uh, let's see here. David Adams, I've only just entered the stream, but if I'm hearing right, you've got someone turning up at your door uninvited. Please be safe and consider reaching out to law enforcement. I certainly will not do that. I know who it will be who's coming to my door. The only reason I would reach out to law enforcement is to protect the person, because I know I'm going to want to kill him. I know I am. Kill or cripple, and I just have to. If I'm talking about it and I know it's coming, I won't do it. I like to think I won't do it. LG Lou G says the timid reader would be a good YouTube channel name. Well, or a good article. After that live stream with Jared, an old friend of mine who never looks at YouTube, never looks at BookTube, emailed me and said, "I," he said, "I don't know who your young friend is, but he said we've all been there." I didn't know quite how to take that, but he also said, "If you write an article, if you write 5,000 words on the Timid Reader and submit it to the Atlantic, I'll make sure they take it." And I didn't know what to make of that. I That's kind of interesting. Uh, Gola Muad'Dib, I just ordered a masterpiece of disarray, David Lynch's Dune by Max Every. Saw an interview with him on Dune Newsnet. I think it's a lot about what went wrong. There's a Dune Newsnet? I did not know that. The Spaminator, my alter ego is at work. Why are you doing this to me? Tolstoy 111. As a teen, I waited in Heinlein's Time Enough for Love, completely unendurable. Yeah. Randy Ray, James Tiptree is terrific. I've only read Lieber's fantasy work, but I love it. David Wiley says, Philip K. Dick, I read Flow My Tears, the policeman said last year, and it might just be my favorite book I've read by him so far. Uh, Aaron reads a book. Le Guin and Philip K. Dick went to high school together but didn't know each other. I definitely prefer one over the other. Uh, let's see here. Where did we go? This has jumped again. Uh, Balin321, are you slandering PKD again? I am indeed, rather enthusiastic. Jared Henderson, I may have only read 1,000 books to make my greatest of all books list, but they were all alpha books. Yes, they were all alpha books. You sure they were. Aaron says PKD was an amphetamine addict. That is beside the point. Monet Doyle says hello. Tori reads, hello, the best booktuber there is, and Steve. Who is the other one? Is it Jared? It's probably Jared. Fit to be read. Thanks, Tori, but this isn't about me. ASD, ASDD, reading Jane Eyre right now, and I think it's my new favorite of all time. Duncan from work account. Oh, this is Duncan signing in from work. Okay. The Spaminator, I do the finger breaking bit wrestling. The guys I work with get a little nervous. If you don't do it, if you do it wrong, it could be very real problem. Funny stuff. J. Scott Phillips is here. I just arrived. Have I missed the Blob Watch? Yes, you did, but you're the king of the Blob Watch, so we'll do it again. I was talking about how New England is currently dealing with a blob. We're dealing with a massive blob of rain, this thing here, that is slowly but surely crawling its way away. Tomorrow will be clear. Tomorrow will not have rain. Tonight might not have rain. So I was talking about these things, this thing here and this thing here, one in the Gulf and one off the Great Lakes. But you came into the picture because there's also that right there. I don't like the look of that at all. I'm wondering, I'm hoping that just goes up the coast and doesn't come across the country, but it's perfectly positioned to come across the country. Jack Ferguson, hi Steve. I'm thinking of buying Walt Whitman's 1855 version of Leaves of Grass, or should I buy the 1892 deathbed version? It's going to be totally a question of taste, of which one you prefer. There are popular editions of both. There are also free editions on Project Gutenberg of both, I believe. So you could look at them for free and see which one you prefer. Anti-Gaia, Ron Rosenbaum for October's STD book club. Just a thought. Nope, absolutely not. Steve Bronstein, did you like Charlie Rose's interviewing style? No, no, I did not. J. Scott Phillips, oh, you're doing one right now. Never mind. Lindsay reads, the rain in the Pacific Northwest is just starting, and I have a full week of rain ahead of me. It's taking some time to readjust to it after a dry summer. Yeah, you need the rain up there. I'm just hoping that it goes up the coast into Canada. Tolstoy 111. I've heard some refer to John Fante as a forgotten American master. Is Ask the Dusk any good? None of his books are any good. Omnipotent Poobar, if we're trying to help Steve with violent impulses, we should all probably stop talking about Norman Mailer. Yes. Tori reads, I don't know Fit to be Read. Read. I didn't know Fit to be Read or Jared were here. I was referring, of course, to Frida. Frida's on her beanbag. She's not, she was up on the couch for a bit, but she's now on her beanbag, which really reminds me that I need to get her a little beanbag of her own. Instead of her, commandeering someone else's beanbag, I need to get her a little beanbag of her own. She clearly likes how it feels to just swim on the support. Maybe her joints and muscles aren't as young as they used to be. Maybe she likes that. I should do that. I just haven't done it. That's all. A little bean-sized beanbag is perfect. Steve Bronstein, Ask the Dusk was a favorite of Steve's second favorite author to Ovid, Charles Bukowski. Yes, crap likes crap. Balin321, I finished rereading Seven Pillars of Wisdom today and realized that I am the same age Lawrence was when he was in Arabia. My life needs to get less boring. Street Medic, well, I'm here just in time to leave and go to work. Yes, but we're wrapping up too. We're wrapping up at 5. Because it just occurred to me that the spike of rage that I'm going to feel when I'm interrupted will be a lot less if I'm not interrupted. I wanted to get a Yom Kippur stream in, but that doesn't mean I have to stay on and make myself a target. So We will wrap up at 5. Balin 321. The weather here in the NL is finally good, sunny and windy like the women in my life. What is the NL? I should know that, but I don't off the top of my head. Uh, J. Scott Phillips, are we talking about reading in general, or are you after something specific? Uh, oh, the Netherlands, right? That's what NL is. We aren't talking about reading at all. I was going to rant about reading lists, about end of the year. Here are the best books of 2023 lists. Then I realized I'm a little too early. Soon, in 3 or 4 weeks, we will all be bombarded with them. They will be everywhere. And every year I say, you're going to see these things everywhere, but there's only one list that is good. There's only one. Well, there's one list that eclipses in value all of the others, and it's mine. I know I don't. I strike a very pompous tone on this channel, but it's all joking, except for that. That I literally mean. And I encountered an early one of those lists just the other day. Yes, yesterday. And it, for some reason, made me really angry. It made me really irritated at how bad these lists always are. They are always so bad. That rant will come later on. Jared Henderson, Steve, what should I read next? Well, that's a serious question. That's not a tossed off question. That's a serious question. I need to know what you're in the mood for, what you read and haven't read, what you've read recently that you liked or didn't like. I could make some broad recommendations, but that no use reading against the grain. Balin 321, why would you be enraged? What did I miss? Oh, just I'm going to get interrupted. There's a workman in the building, and I told him, you can't interrupt me. You can't knock on the door. You're not going to need me for any reason, and I have video conferences all day long. I didn't mention this as a video conference, but I have had video conferences all day long, which is why you're not getting a barrage of videos today. I told him, I cannot leave those conferences. It's going to really hurt. It's going to make me a laughing stock to hear knocking in the background. So don't do it. Don't require my attention. You do not require my attention today. So don't do it. And he swore up and down that he would not, which means he's going to. And Flora should be reading. Hi, Steve. I'm currently reading Tea with Mr. Rochester by Francis Towers in the Persephone edition and enjoying it. What did you think of the Persephone line of books? I kind of like it. Kind of like the list. I wish I had some of them. Tori Reed, Steve, please remember your Kryptonian strength and don't use it. Oh, wait, where did you go? On this mystery intruder. You don't need Kryptonian strength. It requires very little strength to incapacitate a human being. Most of your biological vulnerabilities are right on the surface. not that I'm going to be doing that or anything like it. I'm going to control myself. James Rucala, spending my Yom Kippur fighting with anti-Semitic trolls on Facebook. Now, why would you do that? For penance? Cola 1546. Hi, Steve. Would you not consider writing that article for the Atlantic? I don't know. My friend really liked the gist of it. He really liked it. Thought there aren't 10 people who could write this, and you're one of them, and everybody in the industry knows you're one of them. So you're not going to get any backbiting from other critics. But I don't know how Atlantic readers would take it, or if Atlantic has any readers. It was a fun conversation that we had. Definitely. At one point, I tried to do Jared a solid. I tried to say, well, the kid that I was talking to, oh, sorry, the man that I was talking to has 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Surely you want the article from him. My friend said, which wasn't my plan, and I didn't know how to respond to that. Uh, I view it as a testament to the fact that he and I have known each other since Noah's flood. Uh, let's see here. Aaron says, would you make a list of the best Squeakcore books? No, I would not. J. Scott Phillips, I'm looking forward to your hosting of Dude Brovember. Aaron says he just loves the term Squeakcore. Dude Brovember is not a bad idea. Uh, Randy Ray, I'm a third of the way into the world according to Garp, and I'm loving it. Is this your first Irving? RTL LTR, I'm moving to the west end of Boston on Thursday. You know all the best places to work and read when you want to get out of the house. Can you recommend one or two nearby to TD Garden? No, of course I can't. Of course I can't. My knowledge of that area is 20 years out of date. So I have no idea. I haven't been to Boston Garden in a long time. It's been a long time. Let's see here. Geo Craftsman, this workman character reminds me of something from Parliament Buttybur, somewhat of Parliament Buttybur. No, no, he can't see through a wall given enough time. He's a moron. Jared Henderson, I'm listening to this while walking my chihuahua around the block. Even if I don't get a book recommendation, this has been a success. Well, I can't recommend a book blind. I'm assuming that was a joke. Randy Ray Jared is responding to Jared. Chihuahuas are the best. Okay. Balin 321, average 23-year-old can't do 20 push-ups. You should be able to beat them if you know where to hit. Um, I know where to hit. I know the human anatomy very well. I provided I'm not lost in a red mist of rage. Uh, I know just what to do with a human. Let's just put it that way. I know just what to do to stop the fight. Dylan Matthias, I've noticed in recent videos you've made brief asides defending Longfellow. Any chance of getting some videos focusing on individual poets aside from Poetry Tuesday, perhaps starting with Longfellow? I did a whole video on Longfellow for the Daily Penguin. And I don't defend him. He's great. He doesn't need defending. He needs rediscovering, but he's never going to get it. But I mean, my Poetry Thursday videos get maybe 3 views. So a whole video on a poet out of nowhere would seem like adding insult to injury. Randy Ray, some dude bros really care about how much they can bench and how many push-ups they can do. Yes, they do. Absolutely. The dude bros on YouTube, the weightlifter dude bros, the Jersey Juice boys, all of that. That's all they ever do. That's all they can do. They can't do anything even remotely aerobic because they all smoke a lot. So they don't have any aerobic capacity. It's the funniest thing in the world when you see a title of one of their videos saying "Doing my aerobics." It's an aerobic day. You open the video and they're on one of those stair step machines and they're going incredibly slowly. They're basically weightlifting for their legs. There's no aerobic component at all, and yet they think, "Oh, this is my aerobic day because I'm climbing stairs." Absolutely ridiculous. They would need you would need to be panting for 20 consecutive minutes or more. And if they panted for even 1 minute, they would start to hawk up purple liquid from their lungs. And they know that. They know that. They know that the coughing and expectorating process that would happen if they put any strain on their infantile lung capacity. They know that if they put any strain on that and that process starts, they won't know when it will stop. They'll just keep it up, and it's a horrible experience. Some of them have done it before. If they have to run up a flight of stairs or run to catch a bus, then they know the experience of just blacking out while purple slime is coming out of your lungs. So they don't do it. So you click on an aerobics video and it's just them plodding on a stair stepper and calling it aerobics. Golem Muad'Dib, if this guy knocks, just don't answer. That's what I do when people call me. No, he'll keep doing it. He'll keep knocking. Uh, but anyway, we need to wrap up this stream. Uh, Street Medic, I'm just starting an old mentor mass market paperback about Bill of Rights by Irving Brant. I just found a box of old books I got out of storage because I got more shelves. Those old mentors, they are wonderful. Fantasy Network, I am a meathead. Is that adjacent to a dude, bro? It depends on what you mean. I'm certainly not going to cast aspersions when I still want a shot on your show. Randy Ray, it was my first Irving when I read it at age 12. It's probably my favorite. Aaron, I can't, I care about how much I can bench, and I am a Steve certified non dude pro. Monet Doyle, I am reading another sweet romance. I like the guy, but the woman doesn't. She won't sit down with the guy and talk to him. Tolstoy 111, is George MacDonald good? Fantasy, etc. George MacDonald is good, yes. Ewan Sinclair, I didn't know the term dude bro until watching your videos. Do you conceive it or has it come from somewhere else? I don't think I made it up. I'm not that clever. Randy Ray, I've read 7 out of 8 of Irving's novels. The really early ones were pretty rough. Bailey 321, how did you learn to fight? I was trained for a long time, for 8 years. But what I'm talking about is not fighting. I have not talked about fighting yet. I've talked only about incapacitating people, which is very easy to do. If you've got an active nervous system, it's very easy to do. It does not require any of this anyway. Anyway, well, the less I talk about violence, the less prone it will be. Balaam 221, imagine not being able to run for 30 minutes. No, these health and fitness influencers is so funny. That's how they brand themselves. And they spend every video saying, I've got slots open for clients. What are you going to teach those clients? How to hide a tobacco addiction on camera? That's pretty much all you're good for. Uh, Jared Henderson, I didn't want to write for The Atlantic anyway. Have they published anything good since Thoreau's article on walking? They have. They have. It'd be amazing. I'm not really thinking about it. David Wiley, Longfellow is on the very short list of poets I want to explore further. I'd watch a video on Longfellow. I did one for Penguins on Parade. That isn't good enough. Tori Reed's Jersey Juice Boys. They rejected my application. Well, yeah, you gotta hang with them. Copyright free rap music. wearing a cloth beanie and headphones and a hoodie as you slowly, death walk your way into the gym because you're supposed to be really intimidating all of the normies, the reedy little normies, and all the stuff they hide. The fact that they lift weights stoned off their asses every single time. They talk about the pre-workout, but they leave the getting stoned out of it. It's all just a total sham. So you're better off without them. Aaron, stair stepper machines are great for cardio. The slower pace is to maintain an appropriate heart rate. Zone two, it's very easy to go too hard on a stair stepper. You are incorrect. They are bad for cardio. Cardio is 20 minutes of panting. Cardio is your heart pounding for 20 consecutive minutes. What they're good for is exercising the long muscles of your legs, weightlifting for your legs. Uh, and that's how they use them. So the Spaminator cardio is arguably more important than anything. Can't tell you how much muscle bound newbies I've been in this ring with that just completely ran out of gas in a few minutes. Yeah, one time the Jersey Juice Boys tried to get some great B-roll footage of themselves running, drone footage of themselves running, and it was a debacle, just a debacle. Randy Ray is responding to the Spaminator. Aaron, whether cardio or weights are more important is a question of goals. The Fantasy Network, a mix is best. I'm assuming you mean cardio and weights. Balin 321, Storm, Steve, Deep Steve Lore, training for 8 years in the mountains of Tibet with Rishak Ghul. No, it wasn't in the mountains of Tibet. No. The Spaminator, Randy, I'm an indie pro wrestler, so not dangerous at all. Aaron, The Atlantic published A Cobbling of the American Mind. I'd say that was good. Yeah, they published a lot of good stuff. I'm not ragging on them at all. Aaron says Steve is Batman. No, Steve is not Batman. The Fantasy Network, Spaminator. I'm a former pro wrestler. Are you indeed? Didn't know that. Uh, Street Medic. I have a total gym I work out on because I'll be 65 in November and I need the exercise, but don't care how much I bench. Just don't want to have a heart attack. Yeah, you go to the wrong gym, you're going to get these Jersey Juice Boys or the type, the dude bro weightlifters slamming weights around and yelling and also filming themselves, endlessly filming themselves. You won't be able to go into the bathroom because they go into the bathroom and film themselves. The Spaminator, a mix would be ideal. Siva Braunstein, what happened with you and John Irving? You've mentioned there's a history. Did he knock you on your door while you were in a Zoom call? No, no, there was no Zoom back when he was a gorgeous boy. Once upon a time, he was a gorgeous boy. Uh, Randy Ray says, I worked out with my trainer, the Wolf, today. My arms feel like jellyfish, but my spirit is strong. Martin S., I find interesting how people on fitness forums care about every muscle except their heart. Well, yeah, they try not to think about their heart because they smoke a lot. I mean, more than anybody else online. They do. They just religiously keep it from people because they have to drum up clients. It's the ones that have a shred of honesty are the ones that have stopped with the client business and just gone into branding their own pre-workout uh, with ingredients that are not vetted. It's some North Korean gray market vendor that is going to get shut down by the EPA as soon as they get around to it, and then they'll just pop up with a different name. It's manufactured and produced by slave labor, and it's 150% markup. So it makes people like David Lade or Greg Kino Body Gallagher. It makes them very wealthy, but it's junk, pure junk. It's just pure amphetamines. Auntie Gaia, do you find it hard to read in the waiting room or the emergency room? My mother had a health scare, and the 8 hours I had to wait, no opportunity to read. The worry distracted me too much. Well, there you're worried about your mother. You're not. It's not the environment. It's the personal element. I find it easy to read anywhere, unless I'm worried, of course, in which case I couldn't read anywhere. Randy Ray, thanks, Aaron. Okay, you're talking to Aaron. Still talking to Aaron. Andy Guy, I saw other people reading and just couldn't do it despite having the paperweight. Well, yeah, you were worried. That's natural. That's human. Balin 321, I must again insist that you make vids where you talk about your life. You can't just say you know John Irving and then say nothing about it. I haven't said that I knew John Irving. I said once upon a time he was a very beautiful boy. That's all. I'm sure that there are pictures from that time period. I guess I have said in videos that he and I have a personal history, but there's a long and complicated history. I cannot look at his books objectively. I have tried. I honestly think that he is an example of what I talk about. Often when I say that a major writer, a so-called major writer, really only ever had one book in them, but the economics of the publishing world mean that they're just going to be expected to keep pumping out books. We're going to anoint them with some sort of status as some sort of storyteller when they aren't, at all. And it'd be more merciful to just turf them out to teaching instead of one novel after another. But anyway, Aaron says, Randy and I will start a new channel lifting, hawking supplements, and never doing cardio. The street Spaminator, I was a sparring partner for a semi-pro kickboxer back in the 80s when I was in my 20s, but I have no illusions about revisiting those days. Randy Ray says, Steve, I've been guilty of making videos of me working out. In a previous life, I was an extreme weight loss social media influencer. Uh, Aaron says, speaking of cardio, there's a mockumentary called Behind the Mask, the story of Leslie Vernon. It's one of my favorite jokes on the subject. And Randy Ray approves of Behind the Mask. And that brings us to the end of the comments, which is good because that's where we have to stay. We have to break off for now. That has to be the end of it for now. This has to be a short Steve stream, just an hour. I really enjoyed it, but I'm worried this will things will get worse if I actually am interrupted. So I better they'll be bad enough if I'm not. If I actually am interrupted, they'll be even worse. So we got through this without an interruption, so that's great. I'm going to wrap this up before I notice this before I get hooked back into the chat. So happy Yom Kippur to all of you, and there will be no Steve streams for a few days. I don't think. I'm pretty sure there won't be. I think in a couple of days you will see one of the reasons why there will be no Steve streams in a couple of for a couple of days, and I think I can safely say that one of the reasons why there will be no Steve streams is something all of you will approve of. but that's not cryptic enough. But until then, thank you all very much. Enjoy your day. I'm going to try and take the bean out in the rain. That's not going to be pleasant, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.